Are we live? Are we live? Are we live? It looks like we're live. Hello, everyone. This is Happy Valley Hobbies. I'm Mr. Katie, and these are hobbies that make me happy. Sort of a continuation of last week of learning on how to turn around and make switches or hand laid switches using a jig. I had to see about fixing a mistake because I soldered everything offline, or not in picture and all that. And what had happened is that it did not. The soldering didn't come out the way I wanted it to, because it's apparently I was a little out of practice. However, one of the things I didn't have, which I've just bought after work today, is some extra flux. And when I had in doing it offline, I did not have I didn't have extra flux. All I had was rosin coarse solder. I wound up buying some flux, and we're gonna see if we can clean things up a bit. And let's see there. So I got everything together, as you can see, but as you can also see that the soldering is not the prettiest. So what I'm going to do is clean that up before adding the turning rails. And let's see this up before we do so. Also, I think there's a good possibility that my soldering iron might not be big enough. Let's see about adding this. One of the things that Utrecht's videos do not show is how do you not use their shows them how to use quick sticks to finish off the how to finish off the switches. However, I did not buy quick sticks. I just bought normal what I wound up buying was normal turnout ties. So I got to figure out exactly how to well, one trim to size, and then go from there. Uh, where did I put? Now I know I have it's called electronic braiding for desoldering, but I did not find it before I went live, so I do not. Now that I'm looking for it, I'm not able to find it. So, well, since this is my first switch, it is definitely going to wind up being a little not working properly. So, well, I mean, it works, but it just doesn't look pretty. It's a lot nicer than just plain flux. All right. Let's see if this would take away some of the flux. That's what I'm sort of trying to do. It's just to take the flux and sort of the flux definitely makes this lower melting temperature, which makes things go a little bit smoother. So it doesn't say that this is acid flux. I do not know how true that is. Another thing is, I think what I also forgot to do was to let the iron heat up. But since this is a smaller iron, it gets up to the same temperature, but once you uh, attach the correct oh, hello there, sidetrack Mike. Thank you for coming. I think it's theoretically, I'm assuming you see that I'm working with the Faxtrax jig, so I can turn around and hand laid tracks. Basically, I wanted to learn on how to do hand laying track. Usually, what I'm finding out is that to get one of these jigs, I want to say it takes about learning on how to build, not only build switches specifically because I want to build switches that are not commercially available. One of the things I want to do is stub switches, which I am going to be able to do it with this, but right now I'm just fixing on how to do normal switches beforehand. and then eventually they don't show a video on how it's done. Their video shows either doing the what's called a solid point, which I'm doing here, or what's called a hinge point, which I'm going to do later, and then eventually figure out how to do the stub switches, following their location, not location, their instructions. So it's not I had to say, this is not the possibly most intriguing video I've done, live stream I've done so far. But just before this, I did finish the Hunter Line covered bridge. That looks like cancer. And that sort of kind of the roof didn't come out as well as I would like it to, but it is presentable. Not really building a ladder per se. Right now I'm duplicating the track plan that I'm currently using on my layout. It's not a very large one. You can actually see part of it sort of sticking out out of the corner here. But the idea is that all the mainline switches will have the solid style points. The ones that the two sidings I have will get two of the hinged ones. And then the final one, which is sort of kind of the yard, it's only 2 tracks, but that will be getting a stub switch on it. Just seeing about trying to learn about how to put switches together. And then right now my layout's only about 8 foot long, 18 inches wide. So oh, so you actually did your own first live stream then? If I'm reading the comment correctly. Unfortunately, I've been doing these this is my 24th live stream, but unfortunately my where my computer is, it's set up to help out with live streams and all that, and my workbench is very good for doing workbench stuff, but it's not really set up to do live streams at the workbench. But things are gonna work out eventually. Oh yeah, that's much nicer. The solder joints are so much nicer looking. You can see in how bad they are when I first tried doing these. It's one of the things I would have to admit that I haven't soldered in a while, so it's one of those things that, and plus this is not. I'm used to doing electronic soldering, which this is is different. So that's how, that's why the solder joints don't work as well, because, well, basically, the jig is all aluminum, so it's a big, huge heat sink. So it's one of those things of having to realize that, and then it's like, oh, okay, now I'm going back in, and with the proper flux to lower the temperature, lower the temperature of the solder, so it actually works a little better. Okay. Looking at some of that away. So we got too much there. Oh, that's how you got the new name. Oh, interesting. So wait a minute. Does that mean you're Mike? Oh, okay, Mike B. Okay, that's what. Uh, gotcha, Mike. Yeah, that's the thing, is that trying to pick something that makes things obvious, but then but not too generic. And Mike B is, I mean, it's a nice name, but it is sort of a little on the generic side. So how many people did you have watching your first live stream? Now the instructions on this flux does not mention anything about washing them off and all that. I'm still going to do that. One thing I have found out, when doing live stuff, is that you can practice all you would like to and all that, but until you actually, there's some things that you can't practice on until you actually hit the live button. Things like figuring out what the timing is uh, between your computer and what people see on YouTube, because there is a delay. And it could be from, I want to say, from 5 seconds to 30 seconds at times. Uh, let's see. That's what I'm hoping that I'm using, is rosin, but it does not exactly say what it is. It does talk about uh, it's a non-aggressive paste flux, works on copper, which is what the ties are, galvanized iron, uh, lead, tin, steel, and other metals. But it does say do not use on aluminum or magnesium. Not sure why, but thing is, uh, the the jig itself is aluminum, and it looks like it is not adhering to the aluminum, even though I got uh, looks like I got a lot of flux all over the place. So my assumption is the reason why it doesn't work on aluminum because it doesn't adhere to it, which is perfect because I don't want to solder. Um, I don't want to turn around and solder the the track to the jig. So that works out fine, in my opinion. So maybe that's the reason for not working with magnesium and everything else is that it might not adhere to it. Because as I said, I think I said earlier is that the jig is one big heat sink. Well, it should be okay, but I am still planning on cleaning it because I don't know if I don't know how it's just in case there is acid in it. It's one of those better safe than sorry. Now this is going to be interesting. There we got that there. Now, Mike, what did you do on your first live stream? Yeah, I would have to say that's one of the things I do like about hand laid track is that they do look a little bit more uh, they look more like real track because commercial ones, even the really nicely done ones, um, they are designed to be mass produced, and tracks in the real world are not mass produced like model train tracks, mainly because they're using actually using actual wood ties or concrete ties, depending on when they're being made or which country they're being made. Uh, One thing I would have to say with this style of track, because everything is soldered together, um, it loses some of the track detail with the spikes and stuff like that. But it's a lot easier to add spikes than it is to than the massive oversized spikes on some track. Oh, DES Media Productions. Thank you for coming in. Ooh, you did weathering and mini printing. I have a feeling. Uh, I have a feeling. That's one thing that I haven't really done with my layout is is to actually start contemplating on doing scenery and stuff like that. I've right now I'm doing dioramas that are, they're small 2 by uh, 1 foot by 2 foot pieces of wood, and turn around and just practice on uh, doing different techniques and all that, and see which, before putting it on the layout. And that's what the plan is. Another thing I'm trying to do is trying to keep the solder on the outside of the gauge, or what's called the field side. So trying to get uh, the clunkiness away from the rails. And I'm thinking of, just taking a flat file and making it go away that way. Let's see that heading. And I think the warning level of, saying don't work with aluminum should be changed to doesn't work with aluminum. Because the makes saying it don't use with aluminum makes it sound more that it'll it's more dangerous than, oh, it just won't work. Yeah, but I would also have to say, Mike, since you're just starting out, make all the mistakes you want, because you not sure how many subscribers you have, but you don't have many subscribers. You can make all the mistakes that you can. Sometimes it's very interesting when you search for uh, you got a very popular YouTube channel, and if they haven't deleted it, they turn around and they show the uh, what number turnout I'm making. I'm making a number 4 using code 55 rail. Uh, the reason for that is that the switches on the commercial switches I'm using are at 4, and so I already have the layout already laid out and ready to go. And it's one of those things of doing, just duplicating what I already have. The major difference is that the points are going to be made slightly differently. The first one that I'm doing is what they call the solid point, where the points bend a little bit. They're shown as the easiest ones to build. The second type I'm planning on doing is the hinged one. That's why there's an S and an H, because they show that the difference between the different styles that they have. And another one, which they don't really, there's a thing on how to make them, but there's no, they don't have a official video on how to make a sub switch, where instead of having points that swivel, they have an approach track that swivels between the two. I'm going to do one of them and put them in my very small yard. When I first put the switch together, I got electronic solder and I was using that, but I never done soldering on a jig before, and I was getting a little frustrated with it because it wasn't coming out right. And then I happened to realize that, wait a minute, this aluminum jig is one big heat sink. So that's why I wound up buying today after work some flux, and then that's why I'm sort of like trying to clean everything up on this before I add the points. That's the only thing that's missing right now are the points. So I got all the stock rails, the ring rails, slowly cleaning everything. I think it's resoldered or regapped. Yeah. Yeah, I'm getting the hang of using how to solder everything onto this. I'm used to soldering electronic components and all that, and this is a different. Trying to think what an equivalent would be. Difference between riding a normal bicycle and a recumbent bicycle. I had a chance to ride a recumbent bicycle once, and well, didn't quite get the hang of it. So, because your center of gravity is so much in a different place. This is sort of like the same thing. The amount of heat sinking is completely different. So I'm not used to actually holding. I'm not actually used to holding the soldering iron in a place. It's sort of like get in and get out with electronics. This one is like you need to get the heat a little bit where you want it. Oh, that's interesting. DS. So I'm assuming you like the Fast Tracks product. I mean, this is my. I mean, I've always heard praise with Fast Tracks and all that, and I am sort of kind of liking these. Um, but I was the only thing I would that I and this is just a personal thing for me. Is the only reason why I don't like Fast Tracks is that uh, it looks like they do not have a fine scale option. You know, it's all set up for HO scale, uh, which is nice because that's what most of the ones that are. But as far as I know, they don't do like the fine scale setups. But I guess uh, the uh, the semi fine scale works. I guess fine with uh, fine with these. They do have a. Oh, I forgot who makes these, but these seem to work. Seem to work fine. Obviously, I don't have the points on it yet, so it won't work perfectly. But it does feel like it's working fine. Uh, it feels a little rough there, but then again, I do have some solder on top of the rails, which is not a good thing. Once I get everything all cleaned up and all that, I can go from there. Let's see. Also, feeling that I do not have a strong enough solder iron for doing track. So I'm used to doing electronics, so you don't need a large soldering iron. I go with that. 6. There we go. Push back in. One number 5 and 2 number 6s. Nice. Yeah, it's another thing that I have to sort of practice on is weathering and etc. But one of the reasons why I went with code 55 is basically, the era that I'm doing, which is, the 18th century, and modern code 100 rail is just, I mean, I would have to say when you're trying to put something in with very fine scale, and then you got the Code 100 stuff. I mean, it looks massively like uh, I want to say more toy sized, which that's what that's what, in my opinion, HO scale is that it's originally started O scale or like O scale, where it was the track was designed more for reliability. Uh, that's why they still go with Code 100 rail, because it's a lot more reliable than the finer scales. Realize something. This one is all nice and bent and all that. Just have to realize, not bent, the straight one. Say we solder that in. Looks for these. Scroll. Uh, extra for these. Yeah, this is my first switch, and the soldering is not that great. So, which is okay. You gotta learn, start somewhere. So that's my thought on this. So here, right. Yeah, one thing I am thinking is Nutrex bottling, which I helped out last year. They're in the process of having a new show that is at the same time as here. I think the decision, not many from that group know about what I'm doing. So my assumption is that they didn't, well, they just didn't know that I was doing something the same night. So they decided, oh, Thursday sounds like a good idea. But when I started this, it was also in January. I'm finding out that unfortunately there are times that the sun is in my face. Not on this camera, but my main camera that I use. I'm looking into the sunset, so I am thinking on changing. I am thinking about changing the time. I just don't know what would be a good time to change it to. Mainly because at this point, I guess in the YouTube game, I'm going to be stepping on somebody. And that's the way it is. Right. Let's see, not this one, the other one. Now I do have 2 rail nippers. And the reason why I got 2 of them is these are new, these are old. Hence the reason why they got tape all over them. So, you know, these I could be a little bit more rougher with. Okay. I also suggest, which I have done on flat just a little bit. Put that in. Just plan is to solder it in. Well, thank you for coming from Sidetrack Mike. Yeah, that's what it looks like. I'm going to have to do big whoop. Is there's we're going to wind up stepping on some people's toes. One of the things that I wanted to watch was Sparky's channel. Sparky has the same, you know, speaking of unintentionally stepping on people's toes, he's on at the same time that New Trex Modeling is at. Then when I decided to turn around, it's like, all right, I'm going to watch Sparky. Then he turns around and doesn't do a live stream. This is not fitting. But yeah, I think it's one of those things of turn around and see what fits my schedule. And if people follow me, they follow me. If you know I lose them, well, unfortunately, I wind up using them. I only have right now 63 subscribers, so it's not you know, it's a lot easier to, I guess, lose a large portion of people who have subscribed, but at the same time, well, that's the way it's going to be. Well, hello there, Real Artists. Thank you for coming in. Oh, I was reading your comment wrong. So I thought it was like, oh, somebody's named Big Whoop, and then it's like, oh, wait a minute, that's Real Artist. Oh, that's wrong and funny at the same time. But Yeah, it's one of those things of one of the things I want to see about learning to do. I did a little bit of it with new tracks. Is basically editing into so I could have content that does not require me to be live, basically. All right. And I think the hardest thing with editing, though, is actually doing the editing. I do have a couple of things that I've had that I have gone and uh, got recorded. I just haven't had the ambition to turn around and. All right, now let's see. I'm ready for this. Now, they did suggest, of course, I don't have a piece of paper in front of me. Let's use a piece of paper around this, and so it'll get it so it won't. So this won't adhere to the throw bar. Right now, I do not have this paper with me. Let's see if we can do this. Trying to get some of the extra solder off. Going to be done without soldering the switch. So I'm gonna have to turn around and find my desoldering wick to turn around and clean those up a little bit. Go that direction. Turn this off because it is getting towards the end. But yeah, I haven't. I started this channel as a something to do while I was unemployed. Then once I started everything, I did something silly and got employed. So I'm not as. That's why I really haven't really been pushing the channel as much as I probably would have if I was still unemployed. But sorry for the jiggliness. All right, now let's say we switch cameras. Oops, no, switch cameras, not turn it off. Technology is great until it doesn't work the way you want it. But yeah, I'm actually thinking tonight. Tonight went fairly well. I'm probably. Oh, it actually shows up my name. Okay, good to know. Instead of my logo. The thing is, on Zoom it shows the logo, but it seems on YouTube it showed just my name. All right, but I completely lost my train of thought. But yeah, as I've been saying that I am planning on changing my live my live stream time. And the thing is, I might do what I might wind up doing is probably Friday afternoon. Where I'm currently working at is it's a 10-hour shift, but it's only for 4 days. So overtime is on Friday if we have any. And that usually ends at noon. It's about a 50-minute drive. I could theoretically, have something 1 o'clock in the afternoon. But at the same time, I'm not quite sure how that would, because of the camera that I'm facing, that's where the sun sets, is going to be, trying to figure out what that time frame will be best, so it's not interfering with blinding me at times. So right now we're close to the summer equinox. So it's one of those things of trying to figure out how that will work, because then I'll have doing it early, I will have the opposite problem when it comes to the winter equinox, that the sunset might be in my eyes. But I do not know if I have it at 1 o'clock, then it'll be less of a chance of doing something along those lines. The next switch you're going to do is a number 6 curb switch. Ooh. Now, you're going to be doing a live stream on that, or is that something that you're just, taking pictures or stuff like that? I know I have a tendency, I just happen to realize that I have a tendency to assume that since I know a lot of people have their own channels, that I'm assuming that people have their own channels. So if you do not have a channel, that's one of the annoying things, is that, the way YouTube is set up is that, you have to have a YouTube channel in order to comment and stuff like that, which I do have a personal channel that I mostly look on my phone. I do usually I've been using my Happy Valley Hobbies as a what I'm using on my computer and all that. But yeah, it's since I know since I know a lot of people that are watching YouTube videos, they also have their own YouTube video or video streams. But speaking of YouTube streams, it is now 2 minutes to the hour, and so Third Rail Thursday is showing up, and also there's something else I'm going to right after this. I got to open up the email and all that fun stuff to find out exactly where it is, but it has to do some. I'm up in the air about doing it live right now. All right. Yeah, I think I'm aiming the other direction of trying to figure out how to do recorded stuff. I would have to say, in my experience, the live stuff is easier, but you can, it's hard to get rid of. If you make a mistake, it's there. It's like it's not going to go away. It's going to be there. You can't, as far as I know, you can't edit it out. As far as I know, I don't know anyone who takes their live. I think there are some people that take their live streams and then edit it, but I don't think my format's not really set up that way. But I would have to say I'm going to end this live stream now. So the way I look at it is that the world needs more love. Find your passion, add some silliness to it, and spread it all over. And